As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
There's no crying in baseball!
I ate his liver with some fava beans. Nice caliente.
That was totally wicked!
If I can change, and you can change, everybody can change!
All right, and welcome to another episode of your next favorite movie podcast. There we go.
Yeah.
In separate sentences. And we're joined today by our favorite people in the whole wide world. So I'll let these guys introduce themselves because I'll probably mess up their names too. So let's go ahead and start with one of you. We'll start with you on the left, or
I don't know who that is.
William. We'll do William.
Hello. My name is Will Radford. I am the co-writer of Grandma Chainsaw and Pocus Hocus.
Woohoo!
Yeah, well, I pretty much have the same intro, except you just sub out the name. Hi, I'm Alan, and I'm also the co-writer of Grandma Chainsaw and Pocus Hocus.
And he's got cool tattoos on his arm.
I have tattoos. I got Bruce Campbell Evil Dead tattoos.
And go ahead and introduce yourself, partner.
Oh, me, yeah, I'm Chad.
And you
just
guys are
just
familiar with Chad and I. Josh, of course, is not here today. Figures, right?
As it usually goes.
As per usual.
As per usual in these instances. But we're back today because you know what? It's holiday season time, and these guys, they wanted to get together to do a thing with us because we're their favorite people too.
This is true.
And so we're going to be talking about some Christmas time movies, but I think in a couple in particular. So we'll start with whoever wants to bring up their movie title of choice.
Well,
unless Chad's got a couple things.
Naughty or nice? That's
Right.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like
Yeah.
that.
So I don't know. Do we have a coin? I don't know if I have a coin here. Here, we'll flip a bottle cap though.
There you go.
All right. So it's head. So we'll go with nice. So we'll start with the nice movie.
Okay, awesome. And what is our
Okay,
nice movie?
this is by someone's definition of what nice actually is.
He may
You got a
have-
point.
he may have a
You have a
Yeah.
point. Yeah. So we'll start off with
the Santa Claus.
the Santa Claus.
It was the night before Christmas, and children were dreaming of the presents Santa would bring.
Somebody's on the roof.
But this Christmas Eve,
Hey, you!
the unthinkable happened.
You killed him!
Did not.
Now, this night,
If something should happen to me, put on my suit. The reindeer will know what to do.
it's up to them
Let's go.
to save the day. Together, Scott Kelvin and his son Charlie take on the biggest job in the world.
Looking good, Dad!
And though it has its dangers,
Nice teeth.
he thought it was just for one night.
You're the new Santa. I am not Santa Claus. You put on the suit, you're the big guy.
What if I don't buy into this Santa Claus thing? Then there would be millions of disappointed children around the world.
He doesn't want the job,
It was a dream.
but it's growing on him.
I've gained 45 pounds in a week.
Now he's getting into the spirit
There are a lot of kids that believe me. I want some ballet slippers.
and getting ready for the biggest night of his life.
How could I have done this without you, Charlie?
You couldn't.
Walt Disney presents a timeless tale that will warm your heart,
I love you, Santa Claus.
I love you, son.
lift your spirits, and make you believe.
You really are Santa Claus.
Pretty cool, huh?
Share the merriment and the magic.
Seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing.
Tim Allen,
Santa?
the Santa Claus.
There you go. Just go right in and say it,
Yep.
Chris.
Yes.
Starring Tim Allen. And this movie came out in what,
94?
96.
Okay.
Oh, was it 94?
Yeah, dude, 94.
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow.
I kept thinking maybe 95, honestly, because I keep thinking that we saw it in 95. But we probably did because it was around the holiday season.
I know it was right around my birthday because it came out in December or whatever.
So
It
we were
was
kids when we
my
saw it. Yeah.
birthday followed. So yeah. So 94,
Jeez.
which was a while ago. But it is a much loved movie.
Yes.
Here's a classic. Yep.
So Well, I guess we'll just start off with
Who wanted to
When-
do Santa Claus?
That was me.
Who-
100%. That was me.
So I gotta ask, what made you choose Santa Claus for,
So obviously
or
for
this movie choice?
yeah, one of the things is the irony of it, right? Because with the other movie that we're going to be talking about and the huge list of stuff that we kind of all got to pick from, and every time we come on here, we always talk about just some like really obscure stuff, and it seemed like what was it, Will, for like the first 2 times we were on here, all we ever did was talk about foreign film. So like, so now we actually get to talk about like something that's mainstream for
An
I feel like-
American-made movie masterpiece.
America. America. Yeah.
So it's funny because like I remember watching Santa Claus as a kid, and I loved it because my grandma, she loves Tim Allen, as everyone in her age bracket does. And it turned out to be one of those things where like of course I grew up loving it and everything, but when you really think about this movie, it is sadistic and it is kind of wild, right? Like,
Yes.
how they
Yes.
handle the. Okay, so I guess who wants
We'll
to
talk
give
about even
yeah.
the body horror aspect of it.
Okay,
I mean,
Will, I want you. Will, can you give us the what Santa Claus is about?
No, I can't because now I'm just thinking about the remake that's going to be directed by David Cronenberg. So yeah, well, I mean, the Santa Claus is about Tim Allen, who is unwittingly turned into he is taken up to be the next Santa Claus. And it's been a while since I've seen this movie, but doesn't it involve something to do with the old Santa Claus's death?
Yeah, he accidentally kills.
exactly.
He accidentally kills him. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But I couldn't remember that for certain. I didn't want to say that and be wrong.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
like,
right. And the sad thing is that's a part of the body horror aspect for me comes in because he's cursed after that.
Right.
Like drag me to hell.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
But this time it's the
because with
the
each
Santa
new
Claus
installation, you find they find out new stipulations, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're gonna die if you don't get a wife. It's like, what the shit?
He has no choice in the matter whatsoever. So next thing you know, he's like growing hair everywhere, and his body's just expanding.
Stupidly, he puts on the suit because his kid is throwing a fit
Oh,
about it. Even
yeah.
though
You
the
could say
card,
his
the card
kid
said
cursed
put
him.
on the suit.
Yeah.
Reindeer will know what to do. His kid, to appease his kid, because he's the absent father.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So to appease his kid, he puts the suit on, and thus the curse begins.
That's the curse begins.
Do you ever feel like when you're watching a movie like this that you are actually watching a misunderstood masterpiece in the sense that the filmmaker was making a movie about a man who was like delusional or slowly losing his mind? Because but we're watching it from his perspective. Because I don't actually think this is what the Santa Claus is about. I'm just just
no, but you know what?
Just
You're
go
on
with
the
it. Just
similar
go with
path.
it.
guys, we have there's too much light in this room. I'm trying to find the darkness. Like but I mean, yeah, because the idea of a guy taking a woman out on a date and then subsequent dates and having to find the right moment to explain to her, I am like Santa Claus, and if we hook up, you are going to be Mrs. Claus. Like
you're mine.
I just think that has all the makings for a movie about a guy who is slipping deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
It has all the makings of a movie that is inside of the head of the main character of the next movie we're going to.
Yeah, so it's weird, right? Like, I mean, we'll get into it here in a little bit.
Yes.
But watching both these movies side by side, it's crazy how much they both kind of line up. But one is a family comedy, and then the other one is not.
That's true, yeah.
Because both of them are toy makers in the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's just kind of crazy, like when we married the two together.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and the obsession with kids.
Yeah, and the obsession with children. Some is played for laughs, some is not.
Well, the other thing, I know, like Will brought up the psychological aspect of the movie, which I think is pretty funny because in the movie, like the stepdad to the main kid, Charlie Neil,
Judge
is
Reinhold,
a
right?
psychologist. He's a child psychologist. So you literally inject this whole aspect
The
into
psychological
the movie.
aspect. Yeah. Can you imagine if someone is out there and they've seen like a trailer cut version of this that looks like an R-rated movie, kind of like what they did with Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah,
please do that,
that
because
could be
you could
hilarious.
totally turn this into a
Yeah.
creepy film.
Yeah.
Side note: one of my favorite trailers that was turned into a horror film trailer was Forrest Gump. I don't know if you guys ever watched that, but
that's a good
horrifying.
one. I'm a fan of David Lynch's A Goofy Movie.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yes,
classic right there, man.
Yes.
So the thing about the Santa Claus that is just so wild to me is obviously the plot itself, or the lore and the world that they're building with how the Santa Claus it comes to be and how someone else takes up the mantle, right?
Right.
Because he accidentally killed Santa and he put the suit on, now he's Santa. And I love when they actually go to the North Pole, the elves are totally fucking fine. Like, they're like, yeah, you're Santa now. And they didn't give a shit about the last guy.
I know there was no hesitance of
There was
any.
no,
There
like,
was like
sadness, none of that.
we
Yeah,
just need to catch you up on what the Santa duties are, because to me I'm sitting there going, you know what? I bet these elves are used to this shit.
Yeah,
I bet they're used to seeing maybe a different face almost every year, almost
what
every.
if Tim Allen
few
would have walked
years,
inside,
whatever.
right? So Santa
Yeah.
falls off the roof. He actually does the responsible thing. He calls 911, right? While he's inside, a crackhead walks beside the street and puts on the suit.
Oh no!
Oh my god! Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And you know what else? Like, you brought up the point too. Of course, the movie ended up spawning 2 sequels, and of course
And
now a
now a
current Disney
show.
Plus series.
Yeah.
Yeah. But notice too that the second one stipulated that he had to have a Mrs. Claus. That was kind of like the big storyline for that
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
But in this one, there was no Mrs. Santa Claus. So
What happened?
what happened to her?
What happened
And
to the original
then
Mrs.
was the
Claus?
original Claus going to die anyway? You know, or
So
was he
that's
going to
the-
lose
that's
his
the
powers
curse, right?
anyway?
Yeah,
We need to do a
She
prequel.
dies.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what was going to happen to him anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there because
Yeah.
it sounds to me
Oh.
that this clause card didn't exactly have everything spelled out. They just kind of went.
Sounds to
along with
They
me
made it up as they go
like
along.
the elves are making up the fucking rules as they go
Yeah.
along.
Yeah,
What if? Yeah, the elves are really the ones that are the masterminds.
Yeah.
especially
Behind
what's
all
his
this.
name?
Barnaby?
Do you think-
Bernard? Yes.
Bernard.
Do you think that their reaction of not being sad about the other Santa Claus dying, do you think when he showed up they were like, well, at least they didn't get Martin Short?
Yeah.
Wait, 2 sequels.
Or
yeah.
at the time, I don't know, or
Like-
Kenny Rogers maybe. Can you imagine that?
Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Eh.
God,
Islands in the stream.
I would watch the hell out of that movie. I would go and see that. I would. I'm not gonna lie. Kenny Rogers as Santa Claus. It'd be a good time.
Like, oh god, this movie is, and I actually love that it kind of like goes through, like we said, the body horror, where he has the impossible weight gain, the
Yeah.
hair that just grows, and I love how like everyone around him just thinks it's normal. They're like, oh, this is just a
Yeah.
part of age.
Or
this happens.
they get concerned about him too right away. Like,
Yeah.
they think, oh, he's putting on all this weight, he's going to be sick or something. They're
Yeah.
just thinking he's being sick, and then like he's also becoming almost terminally optimistic in a way, because I remember him becoming very cheery as he was transforming as
Yeah.
well.
It's the weird stages of depression, I think.
Here's
Right? He was
Yeah.
finally at acceptance.
here's the real question. Why is it a slow transformational process instead of like a
took a
American
year.
Werewolf in London
Yeah.
kind of transformation where we see him
man.
become Santa in real time? Why are they dragging it out? That would have been
That would have been
That's-
wild.
Oh my god! And then the nightmare aspect, when he had the nightmare about Nazi werewolves and in this case, like Nazi Santas,
yeah.
Oh god.
Nancy Santas. I was
Nancy.
gonna say
Yeah,
Nancy,
it's hard to
yeah.
say it anymore, right?
It's Nancy.
Yeah.
Nancy Sinatra and her boots.
Nancy Sinatra and her boots. Well, those boots are gonna walk all over you, as she says, right? So,
Yes.
I guess, yeah.
it's just wild to like, because now I'm thinking more about Christmas Evil alongside of this, and
Which,
we
by the
talk.
way, folks, that's the other movie we're going to
Yeah,
discuss.
so
Spoiler
I'm
alert.
thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking about like Scott Calvin's a toy maker. Of course, like everything, just it's in the typical fashion with these movies. Like everything lines up, right? He's a toy maker, a strange father, all this stuff, and then he just becomes Santa, and everyone accepts it almost until the end. But I love the fact that there was also a weird side story going around where he was also going to be losing custody of his child.
Yeah.
Because the ex didn't want, she's like, she's the only sane person in the movie. She's like, no, you're a psychopath. You're not seeing your child.
I don't know. I'm sitting there thinking she sometimes was a little too strict, even like when he was the single dad or who was busy with his work and everything, she always had something to complain about. So I'm kind of surprised she wasn't complaining about Judge Reinhold, but I guess he used his psychology methods to go around her. Oh, you're right, honey. Yes.
Again,
I am delusional.
I don't know what else there is to say about Santa Claus, because like when you sit down and actually watch it, like not so much from like, it's kind of like Home Alone, right? You there's the what's it called, the suspension of disbelief when you're watching a movie, and of course there's parts of your brain you turn off for it because it's a movie and it's a kid's movie first off, and Home Alone, he's there were so many avenues for him to not be broken into his house, like call the cops, come out of your yard screaming, I don't know, like there's so many different things. But with this,
apparently there was no other neighbors around.
It just so happens, right? Well, I mean, look at their neighborhood. Jesus Christ!
I know, and they were getting hit by the wet bandits the whole time.
Yeah, no. And
leave the water on.
So then you have like something like this where a guy literally murders Santa, and it's okay. And it's a fun kids movie, like when you like how Will described it.
Yeah.
And then not to mention when Santa's in trouble, then you got like this SWAT elf team that comes in and helps to break them out.
Oh my god.
So I mean, he had like his own little minions, but they were just like, no, we gotta make sure Santa's out there.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's really weird with the elves because they just didn't seem like they didn't care about the old Santa, but then they start to really get used to Scott and become attached to him, and it's like, but you guys weren't attached with the former Santa, now you're attached to him. What's the difference?
Maybe elves are just like really good. They're just
right? Maybe
too. As soon as one's dead, they're like, to hell with them.
Although I think it's more like a cult, like it's all about the good of the cause, and as long as they're
it's like a Russian, like they're comrades.
As long as there is a definitive Messiah, they're okay. But it has to be a Messiah that is through whatever process is ordained.
What if well,
you can never say no to the Santa.
So you brought up a good point. Like, so now we're kind of getting to like the spiritual aspect of the elves, right? So is there like a reincarnation of Santa through whoever takes it over? Like, kind of like the end of Hereditary, where you have the spirit kind of coming in.
Yeah.
So also, what if the elves thinks the new Santa's just a dick? Do they just kill him? Because getting a new one's pretty easy.
Arrange an accident.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they could get the elf who made the awesome hot chocolate.
And poison his ass.
Him.
Yeah.
Judy, that's right. Judy.
Yeah, Judy poisons him.
Judy poisons him.
Yeah, he's like, Judy,
maybe that's what she did to Mrs. Claus, for all we know.
Yeah. She's like, Judy, we got a mission for you. We need you to make it look like an accident.
I think if they don't like him, they just deal. They just adapt. And say that they do. I mean, if it's a cult, they're, they can do whatever they want. Change on a dime.
Yeah,
it's like, I mean, one day the sky is blue, the next day the sky's purple. It
doesn't matter to them.
Yeah, right.
They just got to fulfill the.
I guess maybe that's true.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know, but it is weird.
Okay, yeah, I could
It's like,
spiral
yeah.
forever talking about the we're
Which is
actually
crazy.
creating more lore for this show
Yes.
and movie than it probably ever needed.
Santa Claus mythology.
I think we're looking way too deep into
Yeah.
that, right?
Can't help it.
Well, I guess
It began with the first Kringle.
Right.
That's now. There's a prequel title right there. The first Kringle.
Yep. Well,
Yes.
Nicholas.
I mean, you have you could do some kind of world building thing where it's like maybe they're in the same world as rare exports, and Santa is some kind of like mythological
That's true.
being entity. I don't think that's going on in the Santa Claus, although it is fun to think about.
Yeah. So we have that. We actually have Santa being murdered, and Scott taking over the mantle and actually becoming Santa Claus to make sure all the good boys and girls throughout the world have presents on Christmas Day. Will, tell us about Christmas Evil.
Well,
1980.
I told you he'd be happy that we remembered him.
This Christmas, Santa's going to make everyone happy. The grown-ups and the kids. Christmas Evil, the non-believers
Watch out!
and the screamers. And this Christmas, you better believe in Santa, or he'll slay you.
Merry Christmas, Frank.
Christmas Evil, the night he dropped in.
God, where to start? I always describe this as the Santa Claus meets Taxi Driver. That would be my elevator pitch for it.
Ooh, interesting.
Being completely serious. It is hilarious as we're talking about it. In how many different ways it lines up with the opposite side of the spectrum. Because I mean, yeah, it's like as opposed to a guy killing Santa Claus, he's dressing as Santa Claus and killing other people. So. This would have been like in a canon of killer Santa movies, and it's weird because this one really, really sticks out like a sore thumb because those movies are they're campy and they're sleazy and I do think self-aware to some degree. And I think this movie is self-aware also, but I don't think that the filmmakers are interested in making a movie at the same energy levels as that one. This is pretty much a movie. They play it straight. I mean, this is a movie about a guy.
This one feels like it's a little more. Well, we say like psychological, right?
Yes.
But it feels a little more, I guess, elevated compared to like some of the other Santa Claus slasher movies. Like Silent Night, Deadly Night, or
those are so on the nose. And Will and I, we actually were talking about this on the phone today. It's crazy because how do you market this movie?
Right.
Yeah.
Other than it's about an evil Santa Claus or killer Santa Claus.
Yeah, it's not.
That's not what's really on the movie's mind. That is a symptom of what is actually happening with this guy psychologically. Because I think, two people. I think he kills like two people, right?
Well, yeah, I know. Like we were just watching a little while ago. I saw where he killed 3 people at the church.
Okay.
Which that was pretty crazy with how that scene was cut.
Yeah.
Like because this movie was also considered a video nasty. Back with the UK, and it was one of the movies that was actually confiscated back then.
Yeah.
But the violence is not
bad.
not bad or as heavy as compared to some
it was
other stuff that
vilified Santa Claus. That's why.
That's the biggest part of it. That was when, like, even with Silent Night, Deadly Night, it became such a huge controversy for this time when it came out, because it was the same way. It's because people were like, they're turning Santa into.
Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, the Video Nasty crusade. I mean, or the Video Nasty thing was always.
Like that.
It's true. That's a good way to put it.
Right. That's what I was going to say. The Video Nasty thing was always about like this morally superior, point of view. And I mean, yeah, the idea is, I mean, one of the first things that you think of when you watch this movie, whether consciously or unconsciously, is the way that it is like violating every wholesome Christmas,
right? Which terrifies
tradition.
People.
Yeah, really, that you hold dear. And it does it. It takes it a step further. It's watching it. It's like it's not like they're laughing while they piss on the ashes of Christmas. Like they are actually, like playing this. I mean, pretty straight.
It's like burning Norman Rockwell paintings is what that is.
Well, I mean, and in case people are wondering what we got here in this movie for Christmas Evil is you have a guy who is pretty much traumatized as a kid. After catching mommy kissing Santa, right? Which is how these normally turn out. And so this guy is working for a toy company. Go figure.
Yep.
He's also spying on neighborhood children
and keeping a list on them.
He's keeping a list on them. A black and white book. Notice, by the way,
yeah.
The black book being for good, and I mean for bad, and then the white book being for good. And he's just writing down, like, profiling these kids or something. Like, he even has that one little girl that he really likes and calls her just a darling. And then he called her beautiful on the street in one scene. But
yes.
But anyway, then he becomes even more kind of broken down psychologically and starts making a Santa suit, and even going so as far as to gluing the hair on his face so it doesn't come off and everything. So, and he's always humming a Christmas song, by the way.
Yes.
So I mean, it's a total breakdown of this man who really wants to be Santa.
Yeah.
It's like it's a big transformation for him, because I know like when he even puts on the suit, or even when he's messing with the hair, there's you see him looking in the mirror and he's like, it's me.
Yeah.
He's all happy or something. So,
I mean, it's like it's like a movie made up of all of the like little subtle details and nuances that all the other Killer Santa movies left behind.
Yep.
And that is what's really interesting to it, or about it for me. And it's not that I think that it's some great psych study. It's not that I have like this that I think it's doing this like brilliant thing with this,
What?
What? Right. I think that it really is admirable, just like how committed everyone was. And I think that because of that, some quality shines through by default. Because I mean,
performances are actually really good.
Excellent and very convincing. And you have material like this or a movie like this, and it by its nature, it is going to be bizarre and it is going to be funny in a dark kind of way, because you just can't.
Yeah.
There's a humor to the concept, just by its nature. But like it has all of that. It hits all those marks. But I think it's more interested in kind of stripping away all of the more exploitative, sensational qualities that a lot of those other, evil Santa movies had.
Yeah, I think the weird thing is with these holiday movies as well, is you have where it's that one time of the year where people always make it so cheery and happy-go-lucky kind of thing. So all of a sudden, when you have it suddenly feel like it's perverted by a movie like this, or any kind of other violent way, it I guess just strikes a chord with people in some odd way.
Right. This one even more so, because they did the 3-dimensional thing, right? And they probed these this character and actually, tried to tried to chart his mental breakdown. Like that's what the movie is
Yes.
about, as opposed to, so that's going to disturb people more, I think, than just seeing like the gag of the killer crazy Santa. It's like that is like, ah ha ha, I get it, or like, oh, that's tasteless. But this is like a different level, because I mean it's actually committing to this premise enough to really unfold a detailed story about how this happens. That detail about him writing down the naughty and nice in the notebooks, I mean, my God, that's fucking brilliant. I mean, it really is terrifying.
Well, it shows more into the psychological aspect, the breakdown he's having.
Yeah.
And in a way, it just feels like something that you could almost see in real life.
Yeah.
I think, you know,
definitely.
So they all have their things. You know,
Yeah.
like they have their routines and
And he definitely did. He had a routine thing and of what was going on, and he was just so obsessed with this angle.
Right.
For him to convince himself that I'm going to be Santa, I'm going to be the one to, I guess, save Christmas or something,
Right.
or save the spirit of Santa. So
he had this weird God complex, and
really did.
What I was talking about with Will too, and this isn't me like speaking ironically or anything. I genuinely think the movie is very well acted for the premise and what it is. Like, I remember watching
you
it.
Can tell it's not like a big budget
Yeah.
film. It's just it really stays true to its low budget core in a way, but it's actually pretty well made.
Yeah. Which just makes it all the more of an oddity, I think. Like even all the more bizarre and strange. It's like, I mean, I'm not sure what motivated this group of filmmakers to sit down and take this course of action and really commit to this idea enough to direct a movie about it. That is a bizarre place to live. You know, I mean, it's a bizarre place to live for 90 minutes, certainly long enough to make a movie, but they did. And I mean, it exists. It's like, okay. So like, just really quick to kind of summarize my vomiting out words just a second ago. I read a review for the movie Mad God, the Phil Tippett movie on Shudder, the stop motion movie that took him like 30 years to make, on Roger Ebert's website. I can't remember the film critic who wrote the review. It was like a 4 out of 4 star review, and he spends most of the review just describing the film and everything about it, and you know what it is, and eventually he just kind of he types a paragraph and he's like, what I'm trying to say with all of this, really, and why I'm giving it 4 stars, because it's not a pleasant movie to watch at all. And he's like, the reason why is it's amazing that this movie exists, because you hear stories like, you know, Jodorowsky's Dune and stuff like that about these incredible projects that were hugely ambitious and outrageous and insane that never got made to fruition. And even though this one is very low budget, somehow this one did, and it's kind of incredible you know, that it exists. You know,
it is.
Yeah. So
it's so weird because I think I'm trying to sit there and think more of like, say, some of the Christmas movies that could have been horror prior. Like, of course, I think Black Christmas.
Oh yeah,
but
that's my favorite.
You know, say Will's a big fan. Will actually showed me Black Christmas.
Yeah, huge fan. Yep, huge fan of Black Christmas.
Love it. But like, you know, Black Christmas was also its own thing and its own oddity thing as well, because there really just wasn't a lot of holiday horror films out there that was really kind of breaking the mold, and that was just, I think, really the first to, at least in my view, one of the first to just suddenly start the charge. You know,
they didn't even have the tropes to tempt them away from originality at that point, or you know, when they made it. So it's bound to be authentic in some way. But in addition to that, they, you know, you have a good filmmakers attached to it, so they, you know, resisted all of those temptations to do something tropey. And I mean, I think Christmas Evil kind of, you're right. I mean, yeah, it kind of hits some similar marks, you know, in the sense that it just completely refuses to be, Christmas Evil completely refuses to be a slasher movie.
Yeah.
The evil Santa Claus genre. Black Christmas didn't really have that decision to make, but it's another example of playing it straight. It's like this material was not silly slasher stuff for them. This was like the concept of a slasher grounded in reality is very, very, very scary. You know, that's
absolutely
and the way they played it like that, you know, the 74 Black Christmas, and it works. I mean, I still think it's creepy as all get out.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
I mean, the killer's inside the house. You know, we all,
Right.
like When a Stranger Calls as well. Same thing. That's what I
Yes.
think of as well.
Yes.
But it's just that's one of the creepy things because that's again something very. I don't know. It's very something true to life with that as well.
Yeah.
And
It's
there
grounded
are,
in reality.
we've heard the actual
Creepier
horror
than
stories
any
where it's very
Conjuring.
similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's still it gets me as well. Black Christmas does, and especially that ending. It's like, oh crap.
Yeah, the ending is like just bone chilling, and how the
Yeah.
soundtrack is nothing but the ringing phone at the end. But don't. I seem to remember in Black Christmas that made it so much creepier for me, or maybe it's a red herring, or maybe we're not supposed to know. I don't know. But in Black Christmas, they are actively in that movie investigating murders of young women, right? Of bodies that are appearing around the location, indicating to me that, I mean, that this guy has been like one of two things. Either this guy's been out and about, you know, and they are connected, or, you know, it's some kind of a red herring and they're not. But even that little detail is important in my mind because, yes, if this were happening in real life, there would be a police investigation, and the girl's father would be there trying to figure out where she went. And even that stuff about the subplot that involves an unwanted pregnancy and things like that, and the boyfriend who kind of
talk about real different,
right, who snaps. You know, I mean, like all of that stuff is. Even though not directly related to the murder stuff, it fits in a movie called Black Christmas. It fits in a movie where it's like, this is what we're doing here. Like, it's more than just a slasher effects and spectacle. It's like we're trying to make the movie's called Black Christmas. We're going to make it a Black Christmas, you know. So it's cool.
It's amazing, and the performances are great. Like I know we're kind of curtailed a little bit into Black Christmas there, but like Margot Kidder, amazing.
Oh my God, she's
in the
great.
film as well. I loved her character so much. And then,
of
course, our final girl,
Olivia.
Thank you,
God,
Olivia.
what's the last name? Olivia.
It starts with an H, right? Is it with an H? I forget. Oh man, that's okay. We got internet here. We should be able to look this up.
Yeah,
Hussey,
yes.
right? Olivia Hussey. She is just great as a final girl too. So, and I know she actually went on to be in Psycho 4 in the early 90s. So she played Norman's mother.
Oh, okay.
In that one. Just great performance, and it's a Canadian film, I believe, Canadian production as well. So it's just a great film all around. And honestly, I will say I did not mind the 2006 remake. Like, it's its own thing to me because the original is always a classic, but it was still so much fun. The 2006 remake. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the remakes, any of the.
The latest one I heard was awful. But...
I did too. Although it had a good filmmaker behind it. I loved her movie. I can't remember anybody's name tonight. I loved her movie Always Shine, and I think she directed the Black Christmas remake. Always Shine is phenomenal. If you guys haven't seen it, watch that. That shit is awesome. Watch Always Shine if you can get a hold of it. It's a really good little psychological horror indie movie. But I didn't see the new. Like I said, I haven't seen any. I didn't see the original Black Christmas for the first time until just a few years ago, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so that answers my other question. We were going to ask, when did you see this movie the first time?
Oh, okay.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, like Santa Claus, I think we pretty much like
I think we all watched it.
Pretty much all as kids, right?
Yeah.
And then
I was 35.
and then Christmas Evil. Actually, today was the first time.
Yeah, mine was earlier this week.
I watched Christmas Evil. The Christmas season right before COVID. That was the first time I saw it. So relatively recently. Yeah.
It's crazy because like I've heard of the title, and then over some years gone by. I've always heard it brought up in some way. People always say they enjoyed it, but I just never got around to seeing it until
no,
today.
But you were a little knowledgeable because
So-
you were kind of a nerd about it. Because it's like, oh yeah, it's like Will says he wants to talk about
Yes.
Christmas Evil, and you're like, oh yeah, and from 1980, and I was
Yep.
like, how the hell
Yeah,
do you know
that's
that?
just because one of the things I've read a lot, man. You know, like especially with
Such a movie
Fangoria
nerd.
magazine and stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of just, you know, especially with being a horror geek, you
Oh,
know, I
yeah,
just know these things in a way. Some of the weird stuff I know versus, you know, the real world stuff I probably
Pythagorean
should
theorems, who
know.
needs that?
Like I don't know
you know.
car mechanics very well. No, you
Yeah.
couldn't ask me about that. But I can tell you horror movie stuff.
Yeah.
Same here. Well, yeah. Oh shoot. Yeah, there's that brain fog we were talking about. We were talking about Christmas. Something about. I was going to say something about Christmas Evil, and then I completely.
Maybe it's a Black Christmas.
Oh no,
holiday.
I was going to say. Well, no, I was going to say I've had that experience. Like everyone that I have talked to who has seen Christmas Evil or who recommends it is very passionate about it, like or is very enthusiastic about it. Because Joe Bob showed it on his show and gave it 4 out of 4. You know, and
right.
He's not normally. If the thing with him is that normally if like he senses that a movie is being too like pompous or something, like I think he talked shit about Chud because all of the actors are new actors, you know. So if he senses that, he will like knock off stars and stuff. It's part of the whole his whole thing. But like Christmas Evil, I mean, he could have done that because it's. I mean, they play it all straight, you know. But he really got into it and did a good summary of it.
Well, surprisingly, out of its few reviews, it holds a high rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It is considered fresh.
Like in the 80s, I think, or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
So the obvious ending here, he flies off and lives forever.
Yes,
and becomes Santa
The
Claus,
band,
right?
yeah.
He became Santa after all. He just
cool.
believed.
Yeah,
he
it was
believed.
a very
Right.
happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was it Harry? Is that the main character?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think Harry got what he wanted, and he got a chance to become Santa Claus, and the elves from the Santa Claus. Maybe Tim Allen killed Harry.
Oh my God! There we go.
Yeah. Maybe Tim Allen killed Harry.
That would make it way more morally like, I don't know.
Yeah,
okay.
morally gray.
Oh,
Right.
Talk
Like-
about parallels.
Yeah.
And
maybe
Tim Allen
maybe
put
Harry
on
was
the Santa suit.
Yeah.
Harry couldn't find a wife, so he knew what he had to do.
True.
He had to go to Tim Allen, the other person who was also an up and coming person in his toy factory, who he knew that Tim Allen was one day going to lead the company to greatness. So he stopped on his house, and Tim Allen didn't actually scare him off the roof. Harry just jumped.
Yeah.
It was like in Midsummer, whenever they got too old and they jumped off the cliff. There was actually an elf around the corner with a mallet in case it didn't take.
Oh, that's what the SWAT team does.
Yeah, they also finished the job in case one can't do it.
The thing that bothered me about that is why did the man jump off feet first instead of head first? Like that bothered me. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
Why are they
Like,
killing him with a mallet instead of a gun? I mean, mallet's like, you're gonna bludgeon me to
It's
death.
messier,
with a mallet?
right?
Yeah.
Well,
messier
okay, so
and
the reason why he
grosser.
jumped with his feet, because he's a baller.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought he could fly. I don't
He
know.
probably just they'll take pity on me if I'm hurt. You know.
Right.
That was
No,
just
they're
gross.
gonna just
like that would just no.
Okay, so
always head first.
you
Always.
guys heard it here on your next favorite movie podcast. Christmas Evil is actually a prequel to
The Santa Claus.
To the Santa Claus. Tim Allen actually kills Harry at the beginning of the movie, but he didn't. Harry was ready to die because he couldn't find a wife.
Right.
Because Harry's crazy.
So
yeah,
I think
he was a good Santa, but a terrible lover.
So good night to all, and to all a good night. You know, you can sleep easy, kids.
Yeah.
We it all worked out.
The thing about those Santa movies, though, is that like in those universes, like Santa exists, right? So then, like, who do the parents think have been setting out the presents all those years?
Well, look at like the Santa Claus, right? Like his mom and the stepdad, you know, they we're like, Santa Claus is not real.
You really
exactly. Who had been giving gifts to Charlie all those years?
Well, his mom's also a heavy drinker, and Neil's been providing her prescription drugs for both of them.
Yeah. If you want to get really fucked up, start thinking about the Polar Express. That'll. I'm telling you, it'll mess you up.
Now I want to watch the Polar Express.
Yeah. Also,
and not only because it looks freaky as fuck, like the characters have those freaky looking eyeballs.
Yeah, it's creepy, man. It's a creepy movie. I kind of like it.
Robert
Well, call me crazy. I still love The Grinch though with Jim Carrey. I actually still like that one.
There are some really hilarious, genuinely hilarious moments.
Oh, dude, listen, I could talk about that movie forever.
I still like the original better, but yeah, it's got its moments definitely.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I keep coming across the videos. Universal Studios around this time, they have a Grinch actor. So people who go and visit him, they're always filming him. And the actor who portrays him in the Universal Studios park is really committed.
Yeah.
And seems to really know this character very well, that they know how to answer for everything.
Sometimes it is secondhand embarrassment, though, whenever you're watching it. So it is a lot of different things, right? Like, yeah, I'll stop it here before we derail to a whole Grinch conversation. But Jim Carrey's performance was so good that, like, when you think about the Grinch, that's what it is now, right?
Yeah.
If you say, "Hey, do a Grinch impression," you're trying to do
right.
Yeah.
That's very true.
He did such an amazing job that is now the standard for what the Grinch is. Like, even when you watch the Illumination Studios one, your first thought is, "Oh, Jim Carrey," even though it's a totally different movie, totally different feel.
Yeah.
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 Okay, I'm stopping it there. I'm
bringing the onions.
Yeah.
All right, so we already sort of touched on if we I think. So I think we've all decided that we want David Cronenberg to do a remake of the Santa Claus.
Why not?
So, thinking about it, what would you guys like to see in a remake? Or, well, we even talked about a sequel, a remake of Christmas Evil. What would we like to see there?
Why not just have David Cronenberg combine the two films?
I mean, because they are related, obviously.
I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious in that.
Christmas Evil's a weird one to think about a remake for.
Because how do you that was like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Well, you just can't. You could. I don't know if you could recreate like that authenticity. It would end up being either too much of an evil Santa movie or too much of a just nothing. Yeah. I don't know. That's.
I think that's a tough one too.
Who's making
to make Santa Claus into a bad guy slasher guy or whatever nowadays? I think you have to really try something different, something new, because like the formula has sort of been done over and over.
Right.
So what do you do to make it maybe its own special thing now?
Yeah,
I think would be the tough thing to figure out.
Yeah, I
think there's that movie Violent Night that came out, right?
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
He's a robot, right?
It's
a robot Santa that goes crazy.
Is
that right?
Yeah,
I think that's
nothing.
Okay, I think that's what I thought it was. It was a robot Santa that goes crazy, kind of like a Chuck E. Cheese robot that goes crazy. Starts killing people.
Oh, like the
from my understanding,
was it the
Five Nights at Freddy's,
the banana banas or whatever the hell those things are called.
Yeah.
I don't know what the things are called.
The banana splits.
The banana splits. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
It was like that.
And the Winnie the Pooh horror movie that came out not so long ago, I think.
Honey.
yeah,
which I want to see that one. And then there's and now there's a horror movie on the Grinch called The Mean One that's coming out soon too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's the actor who plays Art, the clown in the Terrifier, is playing Grinch.
Interesting.
It's kind of funny because
wait, did it finally go into like public domain or something?
No, that's the thing. Okay. So you can tell they changed it a little different because they who's the little girl that was like Cindy Who, right?
Cindy Lou Who.
Well, here they call it like Cindy You Know Who.
I know. So it's like
and then they call the Grinch the mean one.
Okay, so it's like off-brand naming things, right?
But he looks like the Grinch. It's the same thing.
I have two of my favorite off-brand titles. I'll say this and I'll be done with it. Instead of Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pop. Is hilarious to me. And then the other one is from Kroger. And I remember the first time I saw this, it's not vitamin water. It's vitamin enhanced flavored water.
Oh, that's a little too much in
Yeah.
between. Vitamin enhanced
flavored water.
Yeah, because that's what a
Very
lot of
specific.
casual Americans would want to say.
Yes, they
It's
want-
vitamin enhancement drink.
Right.
Maybe they're being bougie about it.
But
I don't
think,
know. Is Kroger a bougie store? I don't know.
Kroger's?
yeah, we got some Gucci Kroger around here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You know, like I haven't seen a Kroger in a long time. The only one I
Remember
think
that
of
one in
is actually the
Blue
one back. Yeah, back when we were kids living in West Virginia. That's in
Yeah,
Blue
I remember
Well.
that small one.
Yeah,
Blue
Kroger
Well,
and Food Line, baby.
Yeah.
That
we got
one,
Food Line here. That's the
oh,
only
yeah,
store
yeah.
around here that
What was
carries
the other
Hick
one that we
food.
had? Is there was another like. You remember? It used to be off of Independence here in Charlotte. That Mom would sometimes, and it had the restaurant. It had the dining restaurant in it too.
No idea.
Oh man.
But anyway,
yeah.
So
Roses, that's another one. There you go.
Roses. So yes. Okay. So no. All right. So we've already talked about the remakes.
And then
sorry,
now-
I got distracted by Kroger. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay. Hey, listen, if we don't have any other spot to fill, shameless plug, Will and I have a Kickstarter running right now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. What are you
go.
fellas working on?
Yeah.
Tell us what you're working on.
We got a Kickstarter running. This is a very small one that we decided to do. It was one of those that who, you know, because no one asked for it, right? Here's this thing, and
Because you did not demand it.
Yeah, I mean, we're fully aware. Like, this was something that Will and I talked about early on, and we wanted to make this for ourselves and just really a celebration of the team. So we decided to make it's called the Solus edition of Pocus Hocus number 1 through 4, and it is the first 4 issues together, but they're all just in black and white because Solus, Pocus doesn't have a soul. There's no color in Pocus's world, so we decided, hey, that just kind of seems like it fits the whole narrative. And
nice. Yeah.
It's a hardback edition. It's got a lot of covers in it, concepts that we'd never used. We also have rough drawings from Brian whenever he first started drawing Pocus, and it's just kind of, I don't know, it was just a way of saying thanks to the team, because we feel like we've come such a long way in like a year.
Yeah.
Of doing this.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little, I guess, like a benchmark for that in a way.
Yeah.
So
I think Chad gave you guys your tagline because you didn't demand it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I even wrote that in the whenever I built the Kickstarter. That's right, because no one asked for it. The Pocus Hocus Solus black and white hardcover edition is here. That's the first sentence when people get on here. Like, we're not naive, man. That's why we made the goal pretty low. Because this is it's a passion project first and foremost, like all of them are, but we know that this isn't really going to be for everyone because people have already purchased this. They already have their issues.
There's completists that are out
that's
there.
true.
So,
Right. Yeah, and it's done. It has surpassed our expectations, honestly, for where it is right now. We got 12 days to go. We're almost at $1,800. 40 people believe in this project enough to give their hard-earned money to throw it at it. And we can't say thank you enough.
Yeah.
And how about Grandma Chainsaw?
You guys just came off of Grandma Chainsaw, which was excellent, by the way.
Yeah, we're first off, we're so happy to hear that you guys like it, because whenever we were talking about this before you got here, we were telling Chad, like, hey, we don't know if people are going to like this or not, because we can't really pitch it the way that we wanted to. We didn't know how to say anything too much about it other than it's a slasher, without giving too much away. And I guess spoiler alert for those listening that haven't read it yet. You guys, obviously, I'm not sure if you saw the ending coming or how we were going to do it, but we thought the inclusion of the Dead Squad was something that was needed.
Yeah, no, it was great. I like the I told you guys before, like it kind of takes a left turn with the addition of new characters and the injection of some of the supernatural elements and stuff. So
it's not what you expect.
It's not what you expect,
Yeah.
and you honestly, I mean, I don't even know where it's going.
It's kind of, I mean, because the thing is, sometimes when you're throwing this kind of story out there, especially from the beginning, and you're trying to get people hooked, sometimes it's just good to say, like, okay, yeah, it's a slasher. This is just what it is. Because
Right.
I mean, automatically you're going to draw in already people anyway. Because I
Mhm.
mean, the horror community is big as it is anyway.
Right.
It's huge
Yeah.
nowadays and stuff. So for one, you're going to be okay with that. And then when you throw in the extra twist, if you will, then suddenly it's going to be like, oh shit, what's going on?
Yeah, well, it's a good marketing thing too
It
because you're not
is.
giving away everything. You're still saving something different for the
Yeah.
experience. But yeah, it's great. So, what do you guys have coming up? If you can talk about any of that.
Yeah, Will, do you want to go take it from here?
Yeah,
Everything we're
lots
working on.
Pocus. Yeah, lots of Pocus Hocus stuff.
Yeah.
So
Nice. Yeah, I
yeah,
can dig it.
I can't remember if we had finished the script for Pocus 5. Well, I guess it would be Pocus 2-1.
Yeah. So yeah, Pocus 2-1, Pocus 5. However you want to look at it.
Yeah,
That's already
we-
done, being worked
right.
on.
We
Yeah.
finished that.
We have the ash can that's actually attached to this. So for the completionists, I just want to kind of get an early preview. We're going to have a book of the first 8 pages.
Nice.
That's going to
Okay.
be on there. And all the stuff that we've seen already, the team is definitely on. They're on some other shit right now. These guys, like for real, these pages are some of the best pages I think that they've ever given us.
Yeah, it's
excellent.
it's a game changer.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Oh, nice.
So then after that one, the script for Grandma Chainsaw 2 is already done. We're immediately starting on that.
Oh yeah,
I think
we did write that.
yeah, I think we wrote the script for Grandma Chainsaw 2 a while ago.
Yeah, it's like probably my favorite script we've written together.
It's I want to talk about it, but obviously we want you guys to be surprised because Will and I try to take our time, especially when we do an issue 1, because it's like, okay, these are our characters, this is our situation, sweet. Now we can move forward, right?
Yeah.
Issue 2, you know, you guys are going to figure this out. We're going into the house now, and we're going in fully equipped, and it just throw everything at the wall. I feel like at some point, right?
Yeah, probably.
And yeah, and we're just
what's
we're
under
so
the
excited.
cellar?
Yeah. Oh man, just wait, because we get to reference a lot of stuff that we love and you guys love as well.
Oh, great. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing that, and then of course we're going to be moving to Pocus 6 and then Grandma Chainsaw 3, and then we're going to be moving to Pocus 7 and then concluding Grandma Chainsaw with issue 4.
Nice. Okay.
So we got a couple other projects that we're working on right now too. We actually just finished a script for the Horus and Hell story. So we're expanding the 8-page ash can to a 23-page issue.
Oh wow,
nice.
So, and that's going to be part 1.
Literally just finished that last night.
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
yeah,
wow,
so
okay.
we're finishing that now. We're going to put our last touches on it. We'll get that over, and then we'll work on part 2 for the story for Horus and Hell. So it's just going to be a two-part issue. And yeah, and other than some of the crazy ideas that we're putting together, that's really all we can talk about for right now.
Oh my
and,
gosh, that's a lot, you guys.
And as you guys know, Grandma Chainsaw also got picked up by Source Point Press. So whenever,
congrats
on that, yeah.
well, thank you guys. Yeah, so whenever the series is finished, just like Pocus Hocus, we will be having a national release date, and we'll be in previews and all that good stuff. So
yeah,
That's
definitely don't forget to pre-order with your LSC.
Comics
Yeah,
store.
so whenever, believe us, whenever we have our pre-order code for Pocus, we'll be sending it to you guys, so you guys can hopefully blast it out, and we get at least a handful of people that are like, yeah, this seems all right.
Yeah.
Well, you guys know you're always, as we've always said too, you're always welcome back here to
Thank you.
chat with us more. Of course, we can always chat all night about all kinds of movies, and I'm sure we got more to discuss.
Definitely.
And you guys can always share your projects here because
you guys had a short story, right?
Oh yeah, The Wandering Man. How could we forget?
Yes.
It's our first short story. Yeah.
Manor,
Yeah, so we Bad Bug reached out and asked us if we wanted to do a short story for their Roseblood Manor anthology, and yeah, I think I did send it to you guys. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
I can't believe that slipped my head too.
Yeah.
no, it was
thank you, Chad.
amazing. Yeah. No, it was great. The artwork was mind blowing in that.
Oh yeah, Brian and Jason, they understood the assignment 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did a short story called The Wandering Man about a collector of paintings who I guess kind of finds out there's more of a sinister art behind his most recent purchase. and we'll kind of leave it there.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, definitely check it out.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to write.
It was.
Yeah, we feel like it just kind of wrote itself, right, Will? Like,
so did Horse in Hell. Pretty much.
Horse in Hell really did just write itself too, because it's like, we kind of had to really go free with it, like with Pocus, and especially with Grandma Chainsaw too. Yeah, both of them are so much fun to write. Will, I think the hardest that we've ever laughed when writing a script was Pocus 5, though.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so there's a scene in it where you get to meet a new character and some of his companions, and we were both in tears at one scene that we wrote. And I hope you guys know the scene when you see it, but yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure that was the hardest we ever laughed. But yeah, with Horse in Hell, it was one of those, like, we kind of just, you guys have seen Kit Wallace's artwork. We just let it breathe and let him do whatever he wants, because we want it to be explosive and bombastic and just crazy.
Right.
Like, but with Pocus and Grandma Chainsaw, we're still kind of building a world, right? We still need our own little separate rules, and we're really focused on the character development between everyone, and their choices are having consequences, and we're seeing more and more of that. And you really see that in Pocus 5, with kind of Pocus's decision to sell his soul and how it actually is affecting everyone else around him. But with Horse in Hell, he's a demon bunny. Let's just have fun. Like, there's no need to really make him, we try to make him as three-dimensional as possible, and he does have thoughts and feelings that are his own, but it's like, let's just go crazy. Let's just have fun.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's going to be the merchandise as Horse. I mean, all the plushies you can sell with it. Just saying.
Yeah,
you design that, make good plushies with it.
Yeah.
Different sizes too.
Yeah. All right. You want to take us out?
Oh, okay. So I guess this may wrap up everything, but you guys have been really busy. But thank you for always taking the time to chat with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the same goes for you guys. We'll definitely, definitely want to be
I
back.
I love these conversations.
Yep.
Yeah, it's I get to talk about movies that I never otherwise get to talk about. I would not have I would never have talked about Christmas Evil with anybody this year that I didn't force to. I probably would have forced Alan to watch.
Yeah,
I forced Alan to watch Black Christmas and Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Yeah,
so I probably would have forced him to watch
Christmas Evil
also.
A good thing, though.
Yeah,
it's just all adding more to the knowledge.
Right. It's for his own good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
for wrong.
For real though, we're planning on watching Focus Hocus at the end of January, and we hope that you guys will have an opening around then, and we'd love to come back on while that campaign's running.
Oh, always.
Course,
definitely let us know, and then we'll think of some other good titles to talk about, because there's so much that we could talk about. Really.
Yeah, definitely.
So in the meantime, where can people meet you outside of the podcast universe?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Chaps of Fury. I also have a Hive account, same handle, Chaps of Fury. Pocus Hocus Comic at gmail.com is our direct email for right now. But honestly, we've been working on a Substack too. So we've already have a handful of Substack posts. We try not to bombard people with stuff, so we never want to come off as spammy. So if we feel like we really have something cool and fun to share, we'll do that. Will has been instrumental for the Substack, man, with coming up wild, fun, crazy ideas, and his dark comedy really shines through on all just the wild stuff he puts on there.
That's where his Christmas Evil comes through.
Yes.
Well, it's about to be. I gotta do a new one. It's about time.
Yeah, we got a lot of really cool and fun things to show off for that too.
Nice.
And yeah, side note, that's what's been kind of crazy about this most recent campaign we're running, because it's hard to make updates on this one because everything's done. We don't have to really give like any project updates, or like, oh no, guys, we're going to have everything shipped out by early next year. It's like, no, we're done. We're just waiting for the campaign to end so we know how many copies to order.
Right. Or slower stakes. Yeah.
Yep. All right, Will, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. My handle is willrad82. And you can find, if you're interested in checking out some of my film and video work, that's vimeo.com/willrad.
Nice. And Chad, where can people find you?
Nowhere, because I am nowhere to be found anymore.
I find that hard to believe. He's just hidden. If you guys can find the hidden Chad, you will win this golden prize.
The hidden Chad.
It's a hanging Chad. I mean, I guess like what is it? Letterboxd? Yeah, Letterboxd. Yeah, we'll go with Letterboxd. That's where we're at. Yeah.
I just got a Letterboxd. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no.
Just thinking that I just got a Letterboxd account. I haven't done anything with it yet, though. But once I do,
nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Yeah.
It's
I don't actually write any reviews. I just put stars
That's
next
what I
to
do
things
for the most
because
part, yeah.
I'm a lazy POS. So
I know what you mean. And then, of course, you guys can find me on Twitter at CBC Monkey. Yeah, CBC Monkey. And then it's
sure?
Instagram. That's Xtopher of Oz. And then on Letterboxd, just follow Chatter Josh, and you guys can find me there. And then, as usual, on brand. But this time is also going to be special because I'm going to take a little thing from Mommy Dearest and end this with, you guys know you don't end Christmas unless it's with 'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
Right.
Can you guys give us the last line from 'Twas the Night Before Christmas?
Hang on. I'm looking it up. I don't know
do
what
you
it
want me
is.
to actually quote the last line?
Do you know it, Will, off the top of your head?
Well, isn't Merry Christmas to all and to all a good night?
Is that it? That's it.
I think so.
I guess
so.
Okay, actually, we can end it with there's line 55, and that is, "But I heard him exclaim." Ooh.
That's it.
Yep. Iron he drove out of sight. Happy Christmas to all, and to all
a good night.
All right, well, that about covers it.
We forgot our Christina joining in though, but that's okay.
Oh, this is right. It's been a while since I've seen Mommy Dearest, or I would probably.
Oh, see that's your homework assignment now for the next conversation.
It needs to be. Yeah. I could use a good rewatch of Mommy Dear. I think it's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
Anytime is a good time for Mommy Dearest. All right, so that'll pretty much cover it. You want to follow the podcast, Instagram, the Tweety box. That's at YNF Movie Pod.
That's right.
I don't remember the link tree, but it's on those profiles, so you can just click it and
just find the profile. And you can
find
click on
your
the
favorite
link.
platform. Listen to the episodes, including this one and others to come. That's it.
I think that's it. So
right.
Thank you guys for joining us. Have a good night, everyone, and
Namaste.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.